price is not the biggest headwind I'm seeing. To your point right now, we're seeing is bidding wars across the nation, almost in every state. Here's the big thing I don't think people really are thinking about or talking about that much when it comes down to the housing market right now. We always talk about how tight the supply is, but what's the main driver why that supply is so tight? When you look at Generation X and the baby boomers, when they were sort of in their mid-30s, kind of halfway through that cycle, they were in the move-up trade. They were getting out of that first-time home they bought, and they were getting into a house that was bigger. Now, the biggest driver in the housing market is the millennial group. They're 27 to 41 years old. Here's the thing. They were renters or they were living at home. So as they go into buying into a marketplace, they're not putting anything back into inventory in the housing market. And I think that's one of the major factors that's exacerbating this unbelievably tight inventory market that we're looking at right now. And hence you're having bidding wars and rising prices.
Is no one putting their home up for sale because they realize, oh, I could sell and make a bunch of money, but oh, wait a minute, then I got to buy in the same market or some other hot market and probably just overpay for as much as somebody may have overpaid for my house?
Well, no, so my point there really was they were renters. They don't have anything to put up for sale, right? So they were renting or they were living with their parents. As they now are ready to buy, it's again, they're looking to buy, but they're not putting anything up to sell. There's a stat that I tracked very closely by Altos Research. This week last year, there was 715,000 single residential family homes for sale, not under contract. This time, this week, this year, there's 305,000. Look how much that shrunk, combined with what we know from the home builders who could say, look, we could sell an extra 4 million homes if we could actually get the supply, if we could get the lumber, if we could build them quick enough. All those things are really playing into this incredibly hot real estate market that we have and probably will have for another year and a half.
Yeah, is there any sign that this is cooling off on a macro level? I mean, the amazing thing is, Jeff, the trend, a couple years ago, there were people, not me, but there were people saying, millennials will never leave the city. The suburbs are dead. Nobody, by the way, will ever drive again or ever live in the suburbs. Suddenly everybody needs a car. I mean, the suburbs are kind of red hot. Is this just a pandemic reaction? I mean, that's the question everybody has, right? Is like, did everyone just flee the cities to go to rural and suburban areas because they need a home office and a yard for their kids? Or is this a lasting trend? That's the question nobody seems to know.
I think you're right, but I think like most things in life, the pendulum never seems to stay in the middle. It generally goes to one side or the other too quickly, then it resets. I do think, though, this is going to be more of a long-term permanent state. And why do I say that? Because the thought process was going 15 months ago, if you wanted to have certain jobs and certain types of careers, you had to be in major cities. Now, I'm not saying that the whole work from home, work remote thing is going to be a complete permanent thing, but in many industries, it's going to be 50-50. So that concept of being able to have a house which has your home office in case the kids need to stay home from school, designed the way that you want, that's so much more top of mind and more of a reality versus the way that we were conditioned to think about our jobs and our careers, going into the pandemic. So I think that you're still going to see a lot of that moving forward in the next year or so. But I also think that a lot of the price depreciation we've seen, especially in San Francisco, New York, those markets, whether it be rental or buying, that does come back up because those are amazing cities. And I think as Americans, sometimes we have a tendency to have a short memory. And I think you will see people coming back into the cities. That said, I still see the suburbs being a very hot place.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.